It's Dynasty buys and sells time. Let's not waste any more time. Let's dive straight in. At the top, we've got one of my favourite Dynasty buys right now, George Pickens. Now, a little bit of a unique situation. Obviously, CeeDee Lamb's out. George Pickens had a really tough matchup against Sauce Gardner, basically the only player on the Jets defense that can cover anyone. So didn't have that huge blowout week, but potentially got a good matchup this week, potentially going to blow up. But the reason I am buying him right now is the contract situation. He is a free agent. The issue with George Pickens over the past few years has been the mental side, whether he can stay engaged, whether he can stay switched on. That's happening right now. And either the Cowboys are going to pay him serious money, and then he's locked up with a really interesting offense with one of the smartest quarterbacks in the NFL and a team that will use him correctly, or he's going to get paid an insane amount of money in free agency to go and be a team's wide receiver one. Whichever way you look at it, I think it's a great opportunity to buy now, because as soon as that contract gets signed, we're going to see a price rise, and you can either gain the value of that or you can potentially sell off the back of it. Let's look at the price. As you can see, DLF, they do monthly ADP. It's not caught up quite yet. He's currently the wide receiver 30. Keep trade cut. Got a little bit more hype on him up at the wide receiver 19. Apparently, you can buy him according to Keep Trade Cut for a mid 2026 first. I quite like that price. I think that's a decent value. Perhaps for me, one of the moves to do is maybe can you pivot off, one of these young, super hyped up players, Emeka Ibuka, Rome Odunze. You could probably get George Pickens plus a first, something like that. Maybe you can take an advance of selling high on these young guys, but also buying George Pickens at a time when I think his price is only going to increase. The next Dynasty buy is a repeat transaction. You saw this last week. I'm going back to the well again. Brashard Smith. Look, I truly believe that this guy, come the end of the season, is going to be the lead back in Kansas City. We can look at it positively. We can look at it negatively. The positive, he was on the field for 6 snaps last week. He saw 4 touches, 3 in the passing game, 1 on the ground. The Chiefs clearly want to prioritize getting the ball in his hands whenever he's on the field. The negatives, he only saw 6 snaps. But that's going to increase. I truly believe that this guy is an ascending asset. You can still go out and buy him for a 3rd round pick. He hasn't had that big blowout week. He hasn't had that week where he's seen lots of value, lots of snaps, things like that. And let's be honest, Kareem Hunt is done. Isaiah Pacheco looks a shell of his former self. And I think Brashard Smith is absolutely ascending. And now is the perfect time to go out and buy him. If you are finding this for the first time, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. I do these buy sells every single week in the season. Plus, of course, we've got ranking shows. And then the off season is when we really kick into gear. The sales. Kyler Murray. Now, this is perhaps slightly reactive to last week's performance. I've never seen a Cardinals performance quite like it. But the thing for me with Kyler Murray was that I was holding him as a secure quarterback. I thought that, $53 million cap hit next year, he wasn't going anywhere. However, after Sunday, I'm now thinking that there is a possibility that Jonathan Gannon gets fired. And there is a possibility that the Cardinals say, let's tear this all up. A new head coach may come in. They may decide they want to do a year with Kyler, keep him under contracts, and then you can go out and get your new quarterback in the 2nd year of the regime. However, there is absolutely a chance that a new head coach comes in and goes, Kyler isn't committed, doesn't spend the time that he needs to, doesn't spend the time in the offseason dedicated to working and improving his game. Let's just cut the loss. Move on. He's got a $57 million cap hit. As you can see, he's currently the QB 10 on DLF, 17 on Keep Trade Cut. I think there's a serious world where Kyler Murray isn't a starting quarterback in 2026, which may sound reactive, but if he does get cut, are we sure that a team's going to want to bring in Kyler Murray, who's perhaps not got the greatest attitude, and bring him in to be their starting quarterback? I'm concerned. So, look, Keep Trade Cut, I've got him as a single 1st round pick. I disagree slightly with how they value quarterbacks. I think they're slightly undervalued. I'd need a bit more than a 1st round pick unless it was going to be an early 2026 pick. Maybe can I get a 1st and 2 seconds in future years? Maybe can I get, a mid 1st and an early 2nd in 26, something like that. But I definitely think that you need to be looking to pivot off Kyler Murray. Can I go and trade him straight up for Trevor Lawrence? Can I go and trade him for Sam Darnold and get an asset on top? Like, those are the kind of moves that I'm looking to make right now, that hopefully I can keep my window open of competing, but also get an asset on top, because I think Kyler Murray It may be reactive, as I said, but I think there's a chance he could be a descending asset, and I want to get out of as many of those as possible. The other sell, Evan Engram. Look, Tom's been banging the drum that Evan Engram is a joke and not the Joker all off season. Yet he's still holding values. He had a decent performance this week, 13.3 fantasy points. This may be your last opportunity to get out of Evan Engram before there is zero value left. He played 40% of snaps. There is no way he's repeating that production. We've seen this year, he's disappeared at times. And I just think that he's an asset that is not got any fancy future. So can you get a single third round pick? Can you just offload him for whatever you can get? This is the last chance you can sell Evan Engram, because I just don't see a future for him to be fantasy relevant on the horizon anytime soon. Before I get on to my last bonus transaction, though, make sure you are hitting that subscribe button. As I said, you've made it 6 minutes into this video. You're obviously enjoying what you see. Hit the subscribe. Come join us. Pat Bryant. Now, where Evan Engram is dropping, Pat Bryant is on the increase. 33% snap share in week 4, 54% snap share in week 5. Yes, okay, he didn't see a target, but he's getting on the field. Pat Bryant is a player that there is nobody in this offense that has the same physical tools and role. You know, we've seen Cortland Sutton is that prototypical X. You've got Troy Franklin and Marvin Mims, who are more movable pieces, deep threats, gadget type players. Pat Bryant is Sean Payton's dream power slot. He is built and plays like Michael Thomas did, like Marcus Colston before him. Pat Bryant has the chance to be hugely fantasy relevant. Look at what Devon Vele did last year as a rookie. I think that Pat Bryant is an ascending player and a player that you can go and buy now, because he's definitely not on anybody's radar. Nobody is thinking about him. You can go and get him dirt cheap, and there's a chance that in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, he's starting to be fantasy relevant, and you've immediately just got some found value right there. So go out and buy Pat Bryant. And of course, do you disagree with any of these? Let me know in the comments below. I love hearing your thoughts. I love seeing your trades. And of course, if you've got any questions, I will answer them all as we head out.